Domain is the collection or set of all the input values that is possible. Range is the collection or set of all the output values that is possible. F of x equals to x. If you think about it, for any input value, you will get an output value. So the domain can be any real number, and we write this as x is an element of real number. So this is the domain of the function f of x equals to x. The range or the output value can also be anything. It can be any possible value. So the range would be fx can be any real number. Another way of writing this down is thinking of the values of x as between negative infinity, meaning it can be any value on the number line in the negative side, to positive infinity, it can be any value on the positive side, and the domain can be written as open bracket negative infinity comma positive infinity bracket closed. That's how we write intervals. On the other hand, the domain, after the domain, the range would be f of x is greater than negative infinity and it is less than positive infinity. So the set of values of the range would be bracket open negative infinity comma bracket close. So that's another way of writing down the domain and range. If we take a look at y equals to x or f of x equals to x, you see any values of x is possible, and any values of fx, if you follow the vertical axis, that is also possible. For that particular reason, we see that the domain is x can be any real number, and also the range is f of x can be any real number. It can also happen that the domain is defined. For example, when we have f of x equals to twice x plus 1, here we know that the domain is going to be x is a real number because there's no restriction over here. But they can just define the domain like that, x is greater than 2, and find the range. In this case, when they're defining the domain or putting a restriction on the domain by themselves, what you can do is, for finding the range, you can just put in the value. So f2 is going to be 2 to the 4 plus 1 5. So the range is going to be f of x is greater than 5. That's all.